Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry and Plurk. This is episode 7, Christmas Knitting Successes and Failures. The babies are not sleeping. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. The babies are feeling much better this week. There have been no huge coughing attacks. But them feeling better means that they are not going to nap today because they napped literally every day last week for 2-hour blocks. So I'm going to do my best to keep this flowing, but there may be baby attacks and that will cause pauses, etc. And incoming Mara. Before I get into anything else, I want to say a couple thank yous. Hannah, who is Hanala on Ravelry and Plurk, and is the host of the Traveling Sock Knitter podcast, gifted me with a pattern last week, Slide by Cookie A. I mentioned that I love Cookie A's patterns, and I'm really excited to have Slide. So excited, in fact, that I already started working on it. You'll see that in a little while. I also want to thank Alias, it's her name on Ravelry, her name is Jessica, for the Lazy Katie shawl. Yesterday was Nerd Wars' birthday. Happy birthday, Nerd Wars! And she donated a door prize for the celebration thread, Jessica did. And I won. I got to choose a pattern, and I chose the Lazy Katie, which my mom picked out for a shawl pattern for herself. Ooh. I figured that this would be a good time to get it so that once I'm done working on other things, I can work on that. Okay, Mara's gonna sit at the table and read my book apparently. I hope that's not loud and distracting for you. I'm going to try not to get distracted by her moving. I'm basically like a cat. If there's movement, I'm like, what, shiny? What? Yeah, just like that. You may have noticed that I have new glasses. I am in love with them. Amanda, I really need you to be here to say, well, hello, and do that thing. You know that thing. My sister, she does this thing. And that's basically how these glasses make me feel. I love these glasses so much. I didn't realize that I wanted a new style of frames. And they're not that different from my old ones, but they're just different enough that I'm like, why yes, I am pretty awesome. Okay, thanks. On to the knit and crochet along. That's still going on, going through January 7th at noon, my time. And it is for dolls, monsters, and just handmade toys to be donated to Hurricane Sandy victims, the children. Mara's finished one book and is moving on to the other. So that is still going. I am not sure whether or not I'm going to make any more toys. I sent mine off last week, my first batch, so we'll see if I start any more. I have a lot of projects that I am currently working on and need to get done, so we'll see. On to the successes and failures of holiday knitting. This is, I'm going to give you a quick look at my list. I did pretty good this year. I finished Rachel's Afghan, trees for Roxanne and Diana, 7 pairs of socks for my mom, 8 can cozies for my mom's boyfriend, the cowl and hat for my dad's girlfriend, a hat for my sister, 2 pairs of socks for my friend Becca, and a pair of slippers for my other best friend, Riley. That's pretty good. My failures are the quilt for Steve. I'm pretty sure I told you about that really, really early on. Yeah, I have not worked on my sewing machine in like a month. Just haven't touched it at all. Since my needle snapped, I haven't used it, which is bad. So Steve's quilt is just going to be setting aside and waiting. and I was going to make a corset for my friend Becca for Christmas. Just like an undergarment corset, not like a wear out in public fancy dancy fabrics. But yeah, I haven't touched my sewing machine. That's not true. I did work on Cecilia's jammies. And that is in the to be determined on whether that will be successes or failures, is socks for my nieces and nephews. Mara, can you just read and be good? Try? Okay. The pajamas for my sister's kids, those don't need to be done yet because we're going to see them sometime in January. By the way, it's Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, or Happy Holiday, whichever one you are celebrating or celebrated. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a good season. Anyway, not visiting my sister until sometime in January, so I still have time to finish her kids' pajamas, and I want to make socks for both of her boys since I made a pair of socks for her daughter. Okay, on to actual knitting content. I finished 4 things this week, but I only have one to show you because 2 are the Christmas trees, one for each of 2 of the kids' grandmas, using the pattern Christmas Tree by Helen Free, and Red Heart Super Saver used Patty Green for one tree and Hunter Green for the other, and a US size H 5.0 millimeter hook. Both grandmas really thought they were great because the kids did the beading, and that's really exciting for them. And I finished Rachel's Afghan. I got it all done with a couple days to spare. And when we got to the party, Rachel was taking a nap. So Steve, my boyfriend, took the blanket and laid it over her. And when she woke up, she was like, "Oh, pretty." And then she told me probably 20 times how she thought it was so great and she was really excited about it. And it was just nice to hear because it took, I worked on it all 12 months this year. So it was a work of much love, and I was very hopeful that she would like it, and she did. So that's exciting. And my last finished object of the week. Rachel the Afghan was crocheted using a variety of hook sizes. I think from size F all the way up to size J. I think that was the range. Using Red Heart Super Saver in bright yellow and Vanna's Choice in scarlet and black. My last finished object is the Crosswords at the Coffee Shop shawl. I have not blocked it yet, but I bound it off last night. Can you see that at all? The lace detail? I think you'll be able to see it a little bit. The pattern is by Carrie Steinmetz, Knit Pearl Girl, and I used a smaller yarn than called for, and it calls for Aran. I had worsted, so I used worsted. The colorway is teal. It's by Zwina Yarns. Which iszyarns.etsy.com. You may remember that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it into a shawl or have to go a shawlette or go to a scarf. I made the shawlette size, and it was funny. I was going through Ravelry just to look at my stash. I don't remember what specifically I was looking for. But I was going through and I saw that there were 2 balls of teal that I had gotten from this woman, Radhika. Last year around this time, she was destashing, trading yarn for a story, so a yarn for a yarn. And I sent her a story for myself, and then I sent her another story and asked her to send some yarn to my mom. it turns out that she sent 2 balls of this yarn to me with the ball bands on, but 2 balls to my mom with the ball bands off. Okay, I guess that the yarn that she sent to my mom could possibly not be the same yarn, but it's the same weight, and other than having ends to weave in, can you tell a difference in the color? Because I sure can't. So I'm pretty sure it's the same, which is good because this right here is where the second ball ran out. So I would have had to have done a scarf with just the lace instead of making it into a shawlette, which, I mean, I'm going to wear as a scarf anyway. But that was really, really exciting to find more yarn. I have just under a ball and a half left of this yarn. So I'm not sure what I'm going to make out of it, but I'll find something fun for it. And I really like this pattern. Once I actually sat down and did the lace repeats, I think I did a full repeat in a day and then finished it off because I just picked it up over the weekend again, and I wasn't very far from the last time I picked it up. So I'm going to block this today. Right after the show, I'm going to start blocking it, and then it will be done. Maybe I will wear it on the show next week. My sock yarn blanket didn't get any love this week. I started, I have something in my eye. I started a large square last week and got a few rows into the miter square and then stopped. I really want to work on it, but I really want to get the socks that I need to get done for Michigan done. So I think I'm going to set it aside for a week or 2, or maybe that will be my travel project to Michigan because it's pretty small and easily transported. We'll see. I don't know. Depends on what I work on when we go to Michigan, which I still don't know when that's happening. It's very up in the air. That's making it difficult to know what to do. It's difficult to budget my time for the presents that I want to get done by the time we go up there because I don't know when we're going. So I'm just going to work on just the stuff for up there for probably this week. Well, not completely, but mostly. Sorry, I'm trying to figure it out in my head and tell you at the same time. Okay, on to works in progress. I'm going to show you Mandy's socks first. They're the Drops 117-12 pattern in Premier Yarns Serenity Sock Weight in color charcoal, and I did make some progress. This right here, that is where I was last week. So, you know, it's not a ton of progress, but it's something. I try to do a few rounds every day. What I actually do is, for the past few days, I've been doing 1 round on those socks, and then 2 rows on this, and then a round on each of my other projects, or a pair of rounds on the socks I'm about to show you right now. So I haven't been monogamous at all, and that's why, because I was so monogamous getting those Christmas presents done, I sat down and just worked on the Afghan with maybe a couple sock rounds thrown in when I couldn't stand it anymore, and then just worked on the Christmas trees with maybe like a round or 2 of socks thrown in. So I've just really needed to break it up like every round or so. These are socks for my nephew Kenny. These are Cookie A's Slide. I think you can just barely see that it's starting. I'm so in love with the pattern, and it's really easy. Once I got the start, like, you just read the pattern for the cuff and then bam, there you go. You can work the whole cuff off of what you know. So I don't have to keep looking at the pattern, which is really, really nice. I just work the two rounds, because that's how many I'm working on this, because it's only one sock. 2 rounds, and then on to the next project. I'm using Peyton's Croy socks in brag shades gray, brown, marl. My nephew's favorite color is red, and the yarn shops that I was looking at didn't have solid color sock yarn. So I went with this because I know that the yarn is hard wearing and it's red. So he'll really like it. Plus, he's 7 and he's really smart, this kid. So I was talking to my sister about what yarn I should get, talking about the patterns that the colors were making at the store, and I was like, well, it's kind of like a thick A, thin B, thick C, thin A, thick B, thin C color pattern, and she was like, oh, Kenny will die of love for those socks. So these are the slide socks. My goal for the week is to get this one through the heel. Shouldn't be too hard. He's only 7, so his feet aren't that big. And the cuff is just, get the cuff to where it needs to be in the pattern. Let me tell you about Melissa's socks. Remember this Faraday sock yarn? It's gorgeous. I love it. It's a really cool variegated. I started a couple patterns with it, so I want to do lace to make them as tall as possible. Started a couple patterns and just wasn't loving the way it was working up. Not the yarn's fault. My fault. I was using size 2 needles, and I really think that that's too big for, sorry, they've got, what's that, ash? It might be ash. I was using too big needles for it. I was using size 2. I'm pretty sure that this yarn needs size 1 if I want to make it lacy. I started with the toe, which I made black in Knit Picks Stroll, and I did those on a 2, and then I started with the Faraday. The lace, the tops looked not great, but the bottoms, where it was just stockinette, looked fine. So I'm just going to go down and do it all on size 1s to make the lace patterns look nice. But these double points, this is my only set of size 1 double points, and they're all in use holding the toes. And then this is my only size 1 circ. So if Steve gets home early enough from work today, we are going to go and pick up size 1s so I can work on those socks. And if not, I will not be working on those socks until later in the week when stores are open regular hours. I really, really like the way this was working up. The colors, I liked the way they were working up. I just, the brain work, the lace, it was just too loose. The fabric wasn't looking nice. So I'm still really excited to work with that yarn. And hopefully next week I will have something to show you worked in that yarn. One last pair of socks that I cast on. I know, right? Just 4 pairs of socks, of course. Who doesn't have 4 pairs of socks on the needles at any given time? You see, what happened was I finished all those objects last week, and then I was like, oh, I just want to start a whole bunch of things, but the only things that need to get done are socks, so I cast on a whole bunch of socks. This is sock number 1, and this is sock number 2. These are for my nephew, who is 7. The yarn is This is Peyton's stretch sock. Peyton's stretch sock. There you go. In the colorway Peppermint. It's blue and green, and I think it's a really good little boy color. I'm using the wedge sock from Knit Sock Love by Cookie A. So thank you to Holly, because I'm already using that ebook and I love it. I am through the first wedge on this sock. This sock is only the cuff. Through the first wedge, and I really like the way that the pattern's written, and the construction is really cool, and I can't wait for you to see this next week. I'd really like to get both of these socks through the heel. This yarn is really stretchy, so I'm using less stitches for this pair of socks than I am for this pair of socks, which is why I only want to get through the heels on all three of the socks instead of getting the heel and leg done on the second pair of Kenny socks. Other than my sister's socks, all the socks so far have been worked on US to 2.75. This part of Melissa's socks is size 2. I won't be using size 1 until I get to the Faraday sock yarn. And finally, for works in progress, I did a little bit of spinning. Lisa from 90% Knitting is having a year-end stash down sort of thing on her Ravelry group, and I decided this morning that I would like this fiber to make it in to the countdown thing. So I need to spin quite a bit every day. I'm doing the ply on the fly technique, which is you spin a single and then you Navajo ply it right then. So this is my yarn already plied. I'm not going to have to worry about plying it after I'm done. I'm forcing myself to try the technique through the whole fiber. I don't love it right now. This is how much I still have to go. It's quite a bit that I want to get done in the next not very long. But I really want to give this technique a try before I decide whether or not I like it. I'm really tempted to just go ahead and spin 3 singles and then ply them together, but again, I really want to give plying on the fly a try. Just give it fair time. This is Baby Doll South Down. I can't remember if I said that. It's kind of a grayish silvery brown color. Yeah, that is everything that I'm working on right now. A lot of socks. Hopefully you will see some massive sock work happening in the next week. On to new things. I'll start with this mug. Not that it's really knitting related, but I'm drinking out of it. Steve's sister Rachel, the one that I made for the Afghan for. Blah. She works at Starbucks, so she got us each a mug. They're the same. They're the Sumatra Tiger mug, which are really, really pretty, and I love the colors. I love black and red. I'm a sucker for it, which you'll see more of, black and red. She got us each a mug, and then she got me a box of chai tea, and she got Steve the pumpkin spice coffee Vias, the little coffee packets that you add to warm milk, and there you go. And she also got me yarn, which you'll see in just a moment. I'm not drinking chai right now because I had chai this morning, and I'm trying not to have too much caffeine going on. I quit drinking soda a couple of years ago, I think, at this point. I quit right after I had Mara. I had been cutting back the whole time I was pregnant with Mara, but I quit shortly after I had her. I just couldn't not drink the caffeine and be awake with Gabriel while I was dealing with all the fatigue from Mara. So, a can a day was what I was doing. So I try not to drink too much caffeine. So right now I'm drinking this pomegranate pizzazz, which I only have this one tea bag. I got it in a swap, and it's really good. So I will probably have to go buy more of that. It's delicious. On to new things. Onto yarn new things. Before I get to the holiday gift part, because there's a lot, I'm going to show you something that I ordered that came right after the podcast last week, actually. Science Monkey Mercantile. Oh, I love this colorway. Can you see it? It's called Texecuted. It is red and black and white. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I am in love with it, and I kept looking at it. After the Faraday NSO, these are both Faraday. After the NSO, this was my favorite, and I just couldn't stop going back and looking at it. So when I had a little bit of spending money, I went back and got it. Yeah, I'm in love with it. And he sent me with it this wool wash. I have no idea what that sound was. But it came from my kitchen, so that's really weird. It's not repeating, so I'm not going to worry about it. And he sent me this penguin. Dear Arnie, how did you know that penguins were my favoriteest things in the whole wide world? Because they are. They're my favorite animal. My favorite animal used to be frogs, but now it's definitely penguins, and I think that anyone who looks in my linen closet would know that. I have like penguin soap dispensers. I have one in my kitchen, but I have like a Christmas time penguin one. I didn't decorate for Christmas this year except for that Christmas tree, which doesn't even have any ornaments on it, because it doesn't feel like Christmas to me, because we're not, even though I've gone to 2 Christmas parties already, they were both for Steve's family, and it's just not the same as when we do Christmas in my family. I don't know why, it just doesn't feel very Christmassy to me yet. So we put up the tree last night, and I'm probably going to take it down either tomorrow night or Wednesday. We're having a couple friends over tomorrow, which is the only reason I put it up. Gabriel likes the Christmas tree, but he's not like geeked about it, and he's not asking about ornaments, so I'm not going to even bring it up. Anyway, that all came from penguins, which I love, and Arnie, that's amazing. Thank you. So that is what I bought for myself. The rest of my acquisitions are not things that I bought. Some of it was gifts from Rachel, and the holiday party was at Steve's on Kimmy's house, and his Uncle Rich. But his Aunt Kimmy used to knit and crochet, but she started becoming allergic to some of the fibers. She became allergic to chenille first, which I thought was really, really weird. I've never heard of anyone being allergic to chenille, but anyway, she became allergic to it, so on Saturday, she gave me all of the yarn and knitting stuff that she had. She had a really small stash, so it's not going to be too much to show you. But the presents from Rachel and the stash from her are a little bit mixed up, so I'll just tell you which is which. This came from Kimmy. It's gray. She had started, I guess it was going to be a scarf. It's not really anything, so I'm probably going to rip that out and use the yarn for something else. A ball of really bright cotton orange. It looks, the ball looks like it's wound like Lion Brand cotton. I'm gonna guess that's what it is. Can you see that it's like the same orange as that scarf, the cowl that I made for Hillary? Yeah. There is Caron Simply Soft Quick in navy, and Lion Brand Homespun in, what's this, barley, and green apple, no, apple green. And Tudor, I looked up this colorway, this is Tudor. And this cream, and this grayish color. Those are both half skeins. Those all came from Kimmy, and then this Heppel Light came from Rachel. And I actually think that I have some Lion Brand hand spun, a couple skeins of it in my stash, so I'm thinking of frogging this scarf. It's not long enough to be like an actual scarf. It goes like that. It's not a scarf. It's too short. Mara could maybe wear it as a scarf, but I think I'm going to frog it. I think I'm going to use all of these plus my others to make, well, maybe not the Karen, but maybe, we'll see, to make a blanket or something. I don't know. It would be nice because it's acrylic, so it would be pretty easy to take care of. I wouldn't have to worry about the kids messing up things, messing up the yarn, so I could do that. I'm thinking about it. Not right now. That would be a project off in the future when I don't have so many socks to get done. But yeah, I'm thinking about it. This yarn also came from Aunt Kimmy. It's pretty bulky. There was actually a scarf made out of this yarn, which was long enough to be a scarf. So I might make another scarf using it, or I'm not sure. I'm just going to go in the stash for now. I'm not going to really think about it. This was from Rachel. It's colorway Espresso. I have not used any organic cotton in crafting at all. It's really, really gorgeous. So I am excited. Lion Brand Nature's Choice. I'm excited to figure out what to make with that. Excuse me again. This is, again, not long enough to be a scarf. It's just yarn, acrylic with flex in it. I'm not sure what it is. It'll probably get, well, it will definitely get frogged and used for something else. Got these 3 novelty yarns. They are 31 yards each in a red-brown color, a blue, and a cream color. I'm thinking probably toys are going to be made out of this. It's acrylic, so it will be easily to be washed, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. I can't think of what else I would use that yarn in that quantity for. And this did not come from Rachel or Kimmy. This yarn came in the package when I jumped last week at the UPS driver knocking on my door. This was in the package from the kids, one of the kids' grandparents. Well, 2 of them, but you know, a set of the kids' grandparents. These are mill ends. I'm not sure what the fiber content is, but it's really pastel-y. I'm going to make a small swatch and see if it felts and how it burns, because I'm thinking that this group of things would make an awesome toy of some sort. Maybe not for this knit crochet along, but in the future, I think that would be fantastic. And then one more thing that I got was from Wolf Farms. I ordered a little sample of their cherry almond hand and body lotion, which smells so good. Yeah, this is the sample size. I am probably going to go back and order a full size, even though I don't really use scented lotion. But I think I could make an exception for this because it's just very, very subtle but delicious. And when I got my package, there was also a little candy cane and a coupon code thing and cherry almond soap plus a magnet. That was really, really exciting. Not that I feel that I need a lot of extras when people send me things, because I don't. It's not needed to send extra things when people order from you, but it's always nice to get a little surprise. So I really appreciated that. And yes, Wolf Farms, I got that little soap sample when I ordered from Spartacus Dyes, and I said, oh, maybe I'll order from them. Just do it. Their stuff, all 3 things that I've gotten so far, smell amazing. Amazing. So if you're thinking about it, don't hesitate. Just go ahead. Wolf Farms. Kenny and Robert's sock yarns, I bought those this week too. But those are Yarn In, but I only got them because after I finished Rachel's Afghan, I had 6 skeins of the Vanna's Choice left over that I wasn't going to use, and I really didn't need red or black acrylic sitting around in my acrylic stash because black is what I have the most of, and I have a really big skein of red acrylic just sitting there. So I didn't need them. I took them back to the store and I bought the Yarnver. I try not to, in the coming year, I'm going to talk about goals for fiber stuff next week, but in the coming year I want to I don't want to get rid of anything I have, honestly. I try to make really good purchasing choices, but I want to be more mindful when I do make purchases, and I don't want to just acquire with no thought, which is why for this homespun I already have an idea forming, and for this novelty yarn I already have an idea forming. I don't want yarn to I don't want to pick up things because they're just pretty. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just don't want to do it for myself. I'm trying to get rid of clutter, and yarn isn't clutter, but it can start to clutter things up, especially when you have little kids. Yarn is dangerous around Mara and Gabriel. I can't even tell you how many things in this house have yarn tied around them. Like when I just have little balls that I set down, they pick them up and I go to look for the little ball, and there it is tied around Gabriel's bike, or there it is tied to the banister. So I'm just trying to be mindful. With that all blah, word vomity, onto books. I'm still reading the same 3 books. I didn't do a lot of reading this week. I wasn't feeling it. The kids were sick, and so there wasn't, aside from the 2 hours in the middle of the day when I was trying to get things like cleaning done, there wasn't a lot of time where I could concentrate on reading or listen to an audiobook without coughing bothering me. So I'm going to have to reach because Mara put things on the floor. Mists of Avalon, book 4 on CD. So good still. I'm really, really into it. My laptop died though, so I can't just have it, I can't move the sound around me. I'm listening to it on my stereo, which is right down there. It's normally on the table where the Christmas tree is. But I can't move that around as much, so I'm not flying through the audiobook as much. Okay, now I have to really reach onto the floor. Onto books. I'm still reading the same 3 books. I didn't do a lot of reading this week. I wasn't feeling it. The kids were sick, and so there wasn't, aside from the 2 hours in the middle of the day when I was trying to get things like cleaning done, there wasn't a lot of time where I could concentrate on reading or listen to an audiobook without coughing bothering me. So I'm going to have to reach because Mara put things on the floor. Mists of Avalon, book 4 on CD. So good still. I'm really, really into it. My laptop died though, so I can't just have it, I can't move the sound around me. I'm listening to it on my stereo, which is right down there. It's normally on the table where the Christmas tree is. But I can't move that around as much, so I'm not flying through the audiobook as much. And one of my books is just missing. This is the Knitting Goddesses book, which I probably would have finished if it hadn't been out in the car for an entire week. A little more than. Last Sunday, not yesterday, but last Sunday we went to the gym and I took it and I read it at the gym because I read while I'm on the stationary bike. So I read it and then I left it in the car and I forgot about it, and then I couldn't find it all week until yesterday when Steve was like, oh, it's in the car, it's been under my seat all week. Okay, that's not helpful. So I went out this morning and grabbed it. So I am like halfway through it and I will probably finish it very, very quickly. The Knitting Goddess by Deborah Bergman. Really, really good. I so far like the story about the fates the best, like the actual story portion of it. For each chapter she has a story portion and then she has a project portion, and I really like the story portion. I haven't read through the project portion yet, but I will. That's where I stopped last week and I really, really enjoy it. Philippa Gregory's Changeling, I'm starting to get into it a little bit more. I still haven't read very much. It wasn't a reading week, but I'm starting to get into it more, and I don't know if I'll read anything else that she's written after I finish it, but I definitely think that this book is worth worth reading, and possibly I will read the rest of the series. It's book 1 in the series. I don't know. We'll see. Onto the list at the end. This week I am not going to do 3 favorite things. I am going to do the 3 most memorable Christmas, the 3 most memorable Christmases, or the 3 Christmas memories that came to my mind the quickest. In my house, when we were little, we always got the 20 presents each or something. Maybe not 20, but it was always a lot of presents each. There were 3 of us, my sister, my brother, and myself. And one year, we started opening presents at the beginning of December. We'd open one every night. Not on December 1st, but really early December we started doing it. And then Christmas Eve night, we opened our last present. And that was really, really fun and really exciting to do it that way, because so many nights of presents. I hope I don't offend anyone by saying this, but maybe that's kind of what Hanukkah is like a little bit, because there's several nights of presents. And I really enjoyed the experience. I don't know, I have a couple Jewish friends, but I have never asked them if that's what Hanukkah's like. If you are Jewish and you're offended, I'm really, really sorry. If you're Jewish and you're not offended and would like to tell me what Hanukkah is like, I would love to hear it. That would be great. I hope I didn't offend anybody. But anyway, so Christmas Eve, we opened our last present. So we got up on Christmas morning, and we didn't rush out to the tree like we normally would. It was still dark when we got up because we always woke up early. I've always woken up early. I don't really know what sleeping in is like. But we went out, and under the Christmas tree, there was a whole new group of presents. It was filled under our Christmas tree. I don't even know how my mom did it. Like today, I still don't know. I have never asked her because it was just magic, and I want it to stay magic. So that was number 1. Number 2 is one Christmas in Michigan. It got up to 65 on Christmas Day. There was no snow that day. Instead, there was swimming. 65 is a little bit chilly to go swimming. Like in the summertime, you wouldn't go swimming in 65, but it had been cold and snowy the week before. It had been, 30s, 20 degrees, and then all of a sudden Fahrenheit, and all of a sudden it was 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So we went swimming in the pool in my grandparents' backyard on Christmas in Michigan. And the last thing that is really, really memorable for me is last Christmas. Steve, he went to the store to buy himself a video game. And he was getting ready to get in the checkout lane when he saw this boy and his mom at the, my kids are crazy, at the layaway counter. And it was right before Christmas, and the little boy was like, "Mom, do I get to take it home now?" And she was like, I don't know, honey. We can't do it this week. Maybe after Christmas we can get it. And I can't imagine, telling your kid that you can't get them their Christmas present that they're obviously really excited about. I haven't been there yet. It might happen someday, but I can't imagine how that must feel. So, anyway, Steve put back his video game, or maybe he was still holding it. I don't know. He ended up putting it back at some point, and instead went to the layaway counter and said, "Hey, I want to pay off the balance on that bike." So he paid off the balance on the bike, which was, interestingly, just about the same amount as the video game would have cost him. So he paid off the kid's bike and then, went back. I think that's when he went to put the video game back, and the layaway people rolled out a bike to this little kid, and Steve made this kid's Christmas. Yeah, that memory is probably the most dear to my heart, is just the gifts for Christmas. I really feel it's more important for kids. I feel like that just changed what Christmas, things like that are what changes what Christmas means to people. Because Christmas could have been, he could have remembered, that little boy could have remembered that Christmas as the year he didn't get a bike, even though he was supposed to, and it was on layaway and stuff. But instead, it is the year that Santa gave him a bike. Or, some random person just gave him a bike. That is what I hope. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not the little kid's mom. I don't know what she told him. But I hope that's what his mom taught him, was about the charity of the season. With that, I'm going to stop babbling because this is already really, really long. I hope that you have a good Christmas or a good season, a good day. I hope that your winter is going well. I hope you made something awesome with your sticks and string this week, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye.